This is a demonstration of the solution of the final exam. It is not the only way to do it, but this is the way I would do it if I were to answer this question. So we start with the file, okay, open access, and make sure we save the file first, because otherwise we cannot change anything in the access file. So we'll call this final solution, and then we can start to work on it. We assume Visual Basic, and define the module first. So we go to modules, and then we say insert module, and make sure we change this module to mod category as instructed. We have to write two functions. Function is relative, one parameter passed by value, x as a string. The function itself as a whole is also returning a boolean, so we have to indicate as. The easiest way to do this is to say is relative equals to, okay, so in other words, we don't use a statement, we just use a long disjunction to do it. So we'll say like, and then the pattern to match. If you say, dad, mom, son, and daughter just here, then you're relying on the containing that word, but that string may contain some other words, as you can see. So we'll say asterisk dad oops, I say one thing and type another thing, asterisk dad asterisk. This way, as long as the string has dad in it, it will match. Sometimes this way, because this will also match, stepdad, sugar daddy, and so on and so forth. But in this example, this will work just fine. And then we just need to repeat the same thing for mom, son, and the last one is daughter. And the other function is pretty much the same way. It is actually shorter. Is friend by val x as string as boolean, is friend equals to x like asterisk friend, or underscore x like asterisk buddy, like so. So these two functions are now done. We can switch back to the database and create the form. So we go to create blank form and go to the design view, put in some labels here. 0 relatives, 0 friends, 0 others, and the last thing we need is a button. Okay, and the button should have a caption of count. So in this particular part, I'm not changing the name of the controls, just because it will take up extra time. And so we go straight to build the code inside the click event handler. We'll use my record set, initialize it, current db.open record set. The name of the table is contacts, and we want to specify, I'm just going to cheat here and take a look at the code db open dynaset. So we just go back to our VB window here, db open dynaset, like so. And we also need 3 counters, so we need dim relative count as integer, friend count as integer, other count as integer. We have to make sure all the counters start with 0, And now we have to make sure our record set starts from the beginning, so we have to have a move first, and then we specify the loop do while not my record set dot eof loop. Inside the loop here, the last thing we need to do is to advance to the next record, so we'll put that here first. The tricky part about this is you have to count the other count, so that is not easy when we have someone who can be a relative or a friend, and can be both too. So we need one more thing to indicate whether someone is neither. So I'll just make it short so I can type it quickly. So we have to say neither is true, so we make an assumption that someone is actually other until we confirm it is not. Then we can say if is relative my record set category. Then there are two things to do. The first thing we want to do is to say neither is false, because I know this person is a relative now. And then we have to say relative count is relative count plus 1. Then we start the next conditional statement, and we are not using a multi-branch conditional statement here, because that will not count a person as both a friend and also a relative. So here we say neither is false, because this person is a friend. Friend count gets friend count plus 1. So now that we have identified whether someone is a friend and or a relative, then we can say if neither, then we increment other count. After the loop is done, we have to update the labels. So label 0 is, I think, for relatives. So label 0 dot caption becomes relative count ampersand, which is the concatenation symbol, space relatives. Label 1 dot caption equals friend count and friends. Label 2 dot caption equals other count with space others. And that should do it. Let's switch back to the database, and it works just fine. This concludes the demonstration of the solution of the final exam. Thanks for watching.